Hello YouTube, Reddit Math here, and welcome back to the Red Estate. It is patch day here on the estate, and a number of changes have come in with a recent build. We don't have a new fancy name or anything. There wasn't any kind of major content release. Just a lot of tweaking of balance things. We'll probably discuss more of it as we go on. If I front load all of it, we'll probably be here all day. Now, the Inchoate Flesh is the next boss on our plate, but we need to get our level 2 guys de-stressed after recently leveling up. So in the meantime, I think we're going to take on this medium Purify the Altars mission. We've got a nice level 3 crew, and we'll see how the new balance changes are going to affect them. I'm thinking... Does this order work? That's not the order I want. I think these guys have a fancy name. There we go. Dangerous Lonesome. I'm curious, I don't get the reference there. If any of you watching at home, dear viewer, if you do get that, feel free to drop me a comment. Feel free to explain my terrible pop culture references and let me know what that was supposed to be. We'll go ahead and take this party out. Got a decent amount of gold for provisioning. We are going to be using 3 of the consecrated essences, so that's going to be taking up quite a bit of space. And now, we also don't have a dedicated healer available, so I'm thinking the extra food is probably going to be warranted. And then a full stack and let's say that many of torches. We're heading into the runes, so we're going to need a few shovels at least. And then, just like 2 of everything else. Why not? That should be plenty of stuffs. As we use up the essences, we're going to gain plenty of inventory space for loot. So I think I'm pretty okay with that. Now, the changes. I think the big things that you're probably going to see in this episode are going to be the changes to corpse mechanics. Let's see. We have seen... Corpses are no longer generated when a critical strike is what lands the killing blow. Corpses can no longer be missed when attacked.
Can the defiled be consecrated? Can the fallen find rest?
Both of those things making corpse generation a little bit less likely.
Ambushed by foul invention.
That's a heck of a way to start things off. And you know what? I'm actually going to mix up this party a little bit, as he does have point blank shot, and I'd like to have that be the first thing. I've only managed to get like a couple of skills leveled up to level 3. I just don't have the gold for it right now. So anyway, corpses. The corpses, those are a thing. Hey, a pack with loot.
Wealth beyond measure.
Oh man, we're already...
Awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike.
We already don't have enough space for the jade. I guess we'll replace the gold stack with it right now, as that was only 50 gold. Okay. So, corpses. They can't be missed, so you will always hit a corpse if you're aiming at it. They're no longer generated if a critical attack deals the killing blow. They inherit any damage over time, like bleed or blight, that was on the enemy that you kill with a regular attack. And they also lowered the overall HP on small corpses slightly, which I assume that means any of the ones that only take up a single slot. The other stuff is largely, oh wow, hungry already, is largely some balance pass related stuff on the various character classes. The only one, oh man, okay, tell you what, we'll go ahead and scarf down that food. Start popping some torchlight. That'll allow us to at least pick up the heirlooms. The only character that we really have that I think got changed much is going to be the Highwayman. Basically, his damage overall got reduced on a couple of his attacks. The Houndmaster and Grave Robber and Plague Doctor and Bounty Hunter and Arbalist, I believe. I think I've covered everybody. They all got buffed slightly. We're also going to see the protection. The protection is not there anymore.
Executed with impunity.
I think enough people hated the idea of it on these little maggots, and so protection has gone away. I gotta say, I'm a little bit saddened by that, but we shall live.
Confidence surges as
That
the
was
enemy crumbles.
massive overkill for that maggot, but I didn't have much else to really be doing there, so oh well. Noxious blast. I guess that's really the only thing to do in this situation. What did the Plague Doctor get? Increased accuracy on their... Oh man, and that doesn't work from this rank? That's awful. Increased accuracy on the, like, plague-inflicting attacks, designed to sort of offset the fact that they still have to get through, you know, bleed and blight resistance, and so even if they hit, they don't always proc those abilities. So the abilities themselves have a slightly higher accuracy now. And that's kind of across the board. That affects the Plague Doctor and the Grave Robber both. How's his stun resist? 58. My base is 110. Probably not worth it. We'll just hit him in the face with a sword instead. I think that's a solid strategy. He's down to 7 and he's taking 8 damage, so we might as well... I'm going to go ahead and self-buff. We might run into another fight while it is still relevant. And then she could, like, battlefield medicine for 1. Yay! Yeah, I think the Grave Robber saw the same.
Perhaps the turning point.
Ugh. So much stuff that I have no space for.
Safety.
I think we're going to have to toss it for now. We got to do look for something to clear up a little bit of inventory space. And I never remember what this needs. Maybe holy water? Not holy water. Maybe bandages? Not bandages. Maybe, and I'm kind of doing this on purpose, since we need to get rid of stuff anyway. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Why does it not take medicinal herbs? Of course. Of course, we don't have any space to really grab any of the things we found in there anyway. Oh well. Oh well. So yeah, the Grave Robber, you know, that class that we are doomed to never actually have with us. She
As the light gains purchase,
gets
spirits are
a,
lifted, and purpose is made
I think
clear.
like a bleed resist debuff on her attack with thrown dagger, which will be kind of interesting. That's too much stress for me to be happy with. Okay, 42. It's fine. You know, I might just do the early camp, right? Like to self-buff everybody. The leper becomes so much better after he does that. Of course, with his trinkets here, he does have an accuracy of 20. And we are going to get to use one of the essences real soon. And he is going to soak up a whole lot of stress attacks. So yeah, we might just be using that fairly soon. All right, we'll go to it. And oh, I didn't reposition him. That was very silly of me. We could do 7 to 13, 7 to 13, or do 6 to 6. Let's go for the back row. That plus a plague grenade will take care of that noble pretty easily. All right, lovely. Less lovely. And then, ooh. Oh, come on. That would have been so amazing had it only connected. All right, well, at least he's down.
Alone does not dissuade the
We've done
sharpened
1
blade.
damage so far to this guy. Let's do 1 more. And then 10. So he's down to 11. We would need to do 3. What's your stun resist at 70? That's probably unlikely. We'll just do it the old-fashioned way by hitting you in the face with some steel. Let's see, what else happened? Ugh. Okay, at least we got the resist from everybody. That is certainly something. You are done kind of regardless, so we'll focus on him.
The bigger the beast,
They
the greater the glory.
retooled a little bit of the Houndmaster as to give him a marking ability instead of his whistle, which was like it behaved just like a marking ability.
Disadvantage.
Oh wow.
Give them no quarter.
Except that it only affected his own abilities, so I didn't really synergize with anybody.
Radiance, may we find victory.
Go ahead and take the gold stack, and unfortunately we'll toss this latrine. And then finally, clear up another inventory slot. And I'm thinking, I think the camp is warranted early on here.
Gathered close in tenuous firelight and uneasy companionship.
This is going to give us a chance to do some very nice de-stressing. So we could do a self-only de-stress. We could do an all-companions heal and stress reduce. We could do an all-companions stress resist. I'm thinking I'm going to stand tall. And we might do unshakable leader. Kind of depends on what else we got going here. He could reduce his own stress, but he doesn't really have any stress, so I guess we'll just go ahead with the accuracy buff. And then he can clean guns. And then I think we'll go ahead and up everyone's stress resistance. I mean, with guys at 0, why not? We're going to get the most bang for our buck out of that anyway. There is plenty of blood left to shed this day. I'm glad you agree. So yeah, the Houndmaster saw that. He also saw basically just buffs across the board. I feel like he's no longer quite the one-trick pony of kind of a middling character that then has his dog biscuit to become awesome for a few rounds of one fight. They've upped his damage and his stun chance kind of across the board. He's just generally gotten significantly better. No real downsides there. Beyond that, I think they've reduced the protection values for a whole bunch of enemies. We've already seen that with the maggots. I loved one of the patch notes, which was something to the effect of consider just renaming them armored maggots and calling it a day. But instead of that, looks like they not just reduced, as I think is what the patch note said, but they appeared to have no resistance at all when we encountered them. So I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I was kind of okay with where they were before. Granted, we're in veteran dungeons right now, so I mean, maybe at level 5 they become
As the fiend falls,
ridiculous or something.
faint hope blossoms.
Let's just nix him. But, in my mind, one of those things that I always find a little silly, I do it too, so I'm totally to blame.
Mortality clarified in a single strike.
Well, oh god, that's 10 damage that I don't really want. Let us sort out this fight and then we'll rant a little bit further. Go ahead and battlefield medicine here. Hey, nice crit. That will take care of his, and then got an anti-venom for Dismas here. That plus a pistol shot, and everything should be nice and sorted out. Okay.
A trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
So I am guilty of doing this as well, but, often in discussion of the video games, there will be the immersion-breaking complaint, that it doesn't make sense. That's kind of a weak argument, in my opinion, from a lot of perspectives. Now, can the altar be in this hallway? Is that a possibility? Do we need to go back here? I'm going to brave forward and just hope that it is not, and that it is only inside rooms. Okay, so kind of a weak argument, because, we're talking about video games here, and you can basically twist any mechanic to make sense with some sort of story rationale. And for me, I had already explained away the reason the maggots had such high protection and low health. They were easy to damage, but no single attack was ever going to crush a swarm of maggots, right? Like, you would kill one of them at a time. You wouldn't swing your sword and hit all of them. Now, protection also kind of has a vulnerability in the damage over time effects, and again, that sort of made sense to me in that he's gotta have the greatest trap disarm, yeah. Because a plague grenade tossed into the middle of them was effectively insecticide, just killing them with poison, and so it bypassed all that. It was an area of effect type attack. So for me, that idea of like maggots shouldn't be that hard, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, the enemy could be anything. The fact that they're called maggots and they look like that doesn't actually have any real bearing on how they play. And sure, you can argue about the expectations that you should have and that the visual representation should mean something to you, as those visual cues are sort of designed to be a shorthand for the player and allow them to interpret information in additional ways than just reading the combat mechanics. But I don't know, I never had a problem with it. Like, I was okay, and I remember seeing, oh man, he's tuckered out. It was like a really, really long book, and Dismas is now very tired. That makes perfect sense. Unfortunately, our early camp and our early push to clear out some inventory space is doing a number on our torchlight. We're probably going to take a hiatus on burning torches, backtrack through a little bit of lowered light, and then kind of relight as we start to head into new territory. That's gonna get dicey, not gonna lie. So yeah, the subreddit for Darkest Dungeon. I've seen plenty of hate leveled towards the maggots and their protection, and I don't know. I never really got it. It seemed to be a system that I was okay with. That swap is never working out very well.
Dazed.
Oh,
About to break.
that was really painful. You should not be allowed to do that. Okay, let's try to get a stun here. Perhaps nothing. Okay, let's just finish him off. Thank you. Oh man, that was so much damage.
As victories mount, so too
That
will
attack
resistance.
critting all three of them was kind of a terrible thing that happened to me just then. I'm a little not okay. Oh well. Hey, at least we found the second altar. Again, once we've got two of them down, the fight could be over at any moment. I also didn't reorder him for that opening point-blank shot, which is a little bit troubling. But at least we have Grape Shot Blast. One of the attacks that got nerfed in the most recent update was the total damage of that, though. But, I just still think it's doing just fine. I think HP right now is actually our larger concern. So let's get rid of the guy that's going to be doing that. As you'll notice, he inherited the blight into that corpse. And at the same time, like the corpse mechanic that a lot of people seemed very vocal about disliking, I tried to look in a very glass half full kind of way and viewed it not as a nerf to these sort of frontline characters. Of course, I'm eating my own words right now as we struggle to get rid of a corpse, but more so a buff to, like Dismas right now, being able to attack this guy because he's still in the third rank, whereas pistol shot can't hit the front row.
That overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Alright, do you have a little bit of food? And then, you know what? We'll just go ahead and randomly buff somebody, and then we can do that. We can free up another slot. Okay. Yeah, so for me, I tried again to see it for a buff to characters that hit the back ranks, not a nerf to the characters that could not. And I was kind of fine with that. Like, I interpreted it, and that was the new rule set, and I was going to play into that. It didn't seem like the end of the world by any means, but certainly some people were very frustrated and very vocal in their frustration. And so the developers listened to the cries and have changed a little bit of that to hopefully make them a little bit happier. We shall see, as it has only been a day. Obviously, the reviews are not in. So I did find out a shovel. Oh no. Oh, that was terrible. I feel lied to. I was about to say, a shovel can be used on the urn if you don't have holy water. Somebody told me that. I think somebody lied to me. That's so bad. Okay. Well, at least just a trap. We can deal with just a trap. Oh boy. And we're getting close to actually having all of the rooms gone. And also all of our torches gone. And nada. Also, no chance of scouting. No, not going to happen. What, down here and then back over, and then it's got to be nearby, either this room, that room, or I guess it could be that curio in the hallway. I'm not sure if the altars appear like that. Go ahead and pop our last torch. Get us up to 98 light. Alright, a little bit more gold for our trouble. And we'll see if we can't fill up our pack before we head back. Oh, that's too bad. Speaking of heading back, I know another thing that got changed, not a exploit, if you can call it that, but not an exploit that I ever really tried to use. But some people would need to advance time in the town. It would just load into a dungeon and immediately retreat from it. You know, you could grab some level 0 characters and pull them in and dismiss them right away, that sort of thing. The time in the town, and apparently this can be in the hallway. Luckily it was in this hallway. Yay! We're going to go ahead and continue adventuring for right now. We're not too bad, and we can use a little bit of extra loot before we head home. I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and chop the second character. He'll get the grape shot blast for the first. And oh, I could have acted before him. I would have been very much happy. I don't know, there was a sentence there. I got really confused as goo got thrown in my face. I was kind of hoping, like Savigny, for example, would have been able to do something like this first, but unfortunately he went last there. Actually, your HP ain't looking too hot, pal. You might wanna consider just thinking about things and priorities in life. Of course, that's going to seal the deal for him anyway. No big deal. So we stun a corpse. Nothing happens if we stun a corpse. Okay. And that'll do it for this.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Do we push our luck? I think we push our luck. Gonna go ahead, let the light burn down just a little bit, and then check out one more fight and one more curio before we're done. That's another bookshelf. Not exactly amazing. Also, I did not remember to reshuffle for point blank shot.
Such a terrible assault.
I don't think ultimately it's going to matter, though. I should be able to grape shot blast across these guys pretty easily. Go ahead and continue to blight our noble in the back here. Actually, we'll go ahead and just do that to the noble in the back there. That works too. Anyway, any day, Dismas, that you maybe want to get a turn first so that you could do something like that, that would be amazing. Okay.
This expedition at least
A little bit more gold and another bookshelf. Oh, yay. Haha, we got some mapping. That came in not very handy at all. We missed a curio back there, but I think it's a little far to walk for like a random sack in a hallway or something. Pretty decent loot, mostly just in gold. Man, we had no space for the gems, but you know, I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full gold stacks. Not too bad. Not the greatest heirloom haul, but the gold provisions I'm pretty okay with. Speaking of which, another thing. Oh, replace natural swing. That took away a little bit of accuracy from him, which is unfortunate. Okay. But speaking of gold, another thing that basically was retooled was the economy.
The poor caretaker. I fear his long-standing duties here have affected him.
Was the economy back in town? I don't entirely know how that's going to play out yet. From what I understand, basically, higher level characters... Let's look at that right now. So like Savigny here. Savigny goes in and wants to get rid of Dud Hitter. It's 1350. Peacock, did you go on your merry little way somewhere? Because I think we need you for a boss fight soon. Oh man. Okay, 1350 versus... Wanted to get rid of Egomania, it's 900. Okay, so the higher level your character is, it now costs more for services, which is a change that was made. Let's figure out what happened with Peacock. Gone on a personal vision quest to achieve enlightenment. You freaking kidding me right now? Still no grave robbers. I did check before the last departure, before I started recording as well. There were no grave robbers then. And another thing, okay, and we're seeing that basically right here. They also retooled the embarkation screen so that it is more in line with the character levels that you possess, instead of, you know, giving me tons of champion missions very early on. Ooh, a musket ball. Very early on where you're unable to use them. They're supposed to be a closer match to the level of your actual party now, which I'm a very big fan of. That's one of the things that I had been saying for quite some time that I was hoping would get changed, and it apparently did. Alright, I've done enough ranting about the patch notes for this new build. I'll go ahead and leave a link to them in the description if you want to check out the full details there. It's several pages, and I certainly didn't go over it all, but that'll be there for you to peruse at your leisure. But I'm going to go and wrap this episode up. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to subscribe to see more videos daily. Leave a like or a comment if you have anything to say about this or any of my other episodes, and I will catch you guys next time.